So the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran is over. That's according to President Trump.
Yeah, peace talks are going to continue despite the claim that thousands of missiles are locked and loaded on the regime if they try to assassinate the president.
So let's head live to Paris and meet up with foreign correspondent Trent Murray, who has more. Good morning, Trent.
A very good morning to you, Kyle and Kenzie. Well, that fresh intelligence provided by Israel to the United States that Iran was working on a fresh plot to assassinate President Trump, ratcheting up the already red-hot tensions between the US and the Islamic Republic. President Trump coming out swinging overnight in a True Social post saying, quote, 1,000 missiles are locked and loaded and aimed at Iran, with thousands more to immediately follow should the government act on its threat to assassinate or attempt to assassinate the President of the United States. He goes on to say that orders have been given to the US military, who is ready, willing and able to decimate and destroy Iran for a period of up to 1 year, subject to extension if indeed that order is given. Now, the latest broadside from the president comes after he announced earlier in the week that the ceasefire was over, describing Iran as scum and liars following those breaches of the MOU when Iran began firing on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. In response, CENTCOM confirming that 170 targets were hit over 2 consecutive nights of airstrikes. Now, following the exchanges of this fire, we have heard from the US Deputy UN Ambassador Tammy Bruce. She told the UN Security Council yesterday that there is a new ultimatum for Iran. Take a listen.
We cannot negotiate while Iran reneges on the basic obligations, simple obligations, such as don't shoot at civilian objects. But to be clear, the United States stands ready to hold Iran to account for its acts that defy international peace and security. If you shoot at civilian objects or ships, we will respond.
Now, with tensions at boiling point, negotiations are still ongoing, we understand. Iran's foreign minister arriving in Oman in the past couple of hours as part of ongoing talks with the US through mediators. But while that is taking place, we can bring you some breaking news. We had been awaiting a message, an important message from the country's new supreme leader in Iran following the funeral of his father. Now, in a fairly lengthy statement, the new supreme leader is now calling for revenge. He says that revenge is a demand of our nation and must be met. He goes on to say that there is a complete list of criminals from the highest ranking to the lowest. And he says that soon freedom-seeking individuals across the world will carry out this divine mission. I think there is no other way to describe that as a direct threat against the United States, calling for revenge of his slain father. Guys.
Trent, are you hearing anything with regards to how these peace talks can possibly continue when it just seems like the war is back on? You know, what are you hearing about this? Are people optimistic?
Very difficult to see. Very difficult to see. I mean, certainly we know that the White House continues to push forward the idea that diplomacy is still an option, but it is clearly keeping the military option on the table. We are seeing that both in the rhetoric from the president, but also in the actions being carried out by US forces in the region. At the same time, from the Iranian perspective, on one hand, they are saying that they are willing to negotiate. We are seeing the foreign minister be dispatched. But at the other end of the spectrum, we are getting these threats, these calls for revenge. And we're seeing a state-affiliated media calling for further airstrikes across the Middle East, and also saying that US bases across the Middle East are now legitimate targets. So certainly the rhetoric, rather, is ratcheting it up. Clearly, the ceasefire is in a very delicate place right now. It'll be a very crucial couple of hours and days ahead, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, Trent Murray for us live in Paris. Thank you so much, Trent. For more, let's bring in the Senate chairman of the National Iranian Congress and author of Comrade Ayatollah, Amir Fakhravar, as well as U.S. 26-year Navy veteran Captain Brent Sadler. Now, Amir, let's start with you. So Iran's new supreme leader Mojtaba Hamadeh. He says he's promising revenge for the killing of his father. Trent went a little bit into this, but he just released a statement saying, quote, "We pledge to avenge your pure blood and that of all the martyrs of these two wars from the criminal and dishonorable murders. These criminals, whose list is available from head to toe, will take with them to the grave the wish of a peaceful death in bed." A powerful statement there. That statement came out after President Trump's Truth Social post last night. He says thousands of missiles are there in Tehran, pointing there. If anything were to happen, what do you expect Tehran to do next?
Thank you for having me. It's obvious that, first of all, let me say about the Mojtaba Khamenei, the supreme leader. They are saying the third supreme leader. I keep saying he is dead. The statements are coming directly from Ahmed Vahidi, the head of IRGC, the new head of IRGC. And it's IRGC talking. And when they do such a thing, when they're releasing such a statement, that means it's an act of war. And they cannot just release this type of statements that we are coming to kill the American president and just putting out on the Iranian national TV a petition to ask volunteers to come and kill president and his family members. And we know they send thousands of sleeper cells when the border was open during the Biden administration in United States. The sleeper cells are inside United States. You know, since 2019, it was just at least 5 assassination attempts against me in Texas. I'm living in Houston, and FBI is following that case. And it's, if you search Fakhravar versus Islamic Republic, you will see that case. I filed the lawsuit against the regime at the DC federal court. And regime is doing that, have been doing it for a long, long time. And right now, they are committed to kill the United States president. The way the path United States should go is not just to just go and negotiate with them and be soft to them. It's to just follow the path of American General Douglas MacArthur at the post-war Japan, to defeat them and ask them to just accept it that they are defeated, change the regime, and draft a new constitution for it and move forward. Until this regime is there on any type of shape or capacity, this threat will be there definitely.
So, Captain Sadler, we're used to seeing at this point in time American attacks on Iran, but can the military follow through with Trump's Truth Social post? I mean, do we have the firepower and the time to attack Iran like he says, and is that even wise, in your opinion?
Well, the first part of that, does the military have the weapons and the arsenal to deliver on the president's promise? Most certainly, yes. Is it wise? It really depends on the circumstance. I mean, right now, there still is an opportunity for the Iranian people to take back the country and for what would basically be a page of history turning, all for the better for, of course, for the Iranian people to live under a more responsible, responsive government of their needs, but also to live peacefully with their neighbors, to include Israel, and not threaten American lives and livelihood either. But the military options the president seems to have available, what's resident right now in the region, doesn't include a wholesale invasion. That's a much larger force that would be required to march into Tehran and dictate terms. But again, it may not even be necessary if, in fact, there is a group of Iranians that are not satisfied with the regime, willing and able and armed to be able to take on the regime and to turn that page of history, as I mentioned.
Yeah, and as we've heard from the president, he's touted time and time again just that this administration has really built up the U.S. military. So we're seeing that in real action here. According to reports, 2 aircraft carriers and more than 20 warships heading to Iran. Amir, do you see this creating more stability or chaos around the Strait of Hormuz?
Definitely, the U.S. should stay there until finishing the job. If United States and Israel want to just leave regime, this wild animal hurt and not killed there, it will be a disaster. But right now, it's a clear path. It's a clear path. The Iranian regime, we are talking, the Iranian people, we are talking about 99% of the country. We love United States. We celebrate the 250th birthday of this country. And we are seeking help from the United States. Why, after Supreme Leader was killed, as President Trump mentioned in his speech at the NATO summit in Turkey, why the people were not out? Because 3 weeks before killing the Supreme Leader, regime killed at least 100,000 protesters in 48 hours at the street. President Trump mentioned 55,000 people were killed, and he said, at least we have the actual number. It was a bloodbath all over the country. But it's okay. Right now, the people are coming together again. The way to path forward is actively United States, instead of, I'm begging Vice President J.D. Vance to stop this nonsense negotiation and then let the Secretary Rubio to do the job and invite all Iranian opposition leaders. It should be by the invitation of United States. We all can come together around the table and have our 1776 moment to the founding fathers and mothers of the new Iran. We can come together and just sign a statement together to have the Constitution lead us in future based on the United States Constitution. That's the way. The Iranian people are waiting for that moment, and then you will see millions of people in the street. Regime is gone. It's at the end of the point. But actively, United States should show they are supporting the change of this regime of having a constitution, well-written constitution in place in Iran.
Yeah, Amir Fakhravar, Brett Sadler, thank you both so much.
All right, let's continue this chat on Iran and bring in our special guests once again, Bill Spady and Taylor Hathorn. Great to see you both. Bill, I got a question for you. People have been talking about this, the Air Force One switcheroo.
Yeah.
This brand new plane.
That was strange.
All right. You know, there it is right there. Supposedly state of the art on the inside. But do you think that there may be some defense security concerns, and which is why he didn't fly it?
Well, publicly.
Because he went back to the older model.
He flew it there to the NATO
Yeah,
summit.
but then he didn't fly it out of
And
there.
then he left on the old one. But he said he sent it to let the troops walk through it at the base in England. So a diversion. I don't know. I mean, so much of what President Trump does is a distraction while he's overdoing something else. I mean, even the Truth Social tweet about the 1,000 missiles, he's like, okay, throw that out there and let everybody scramble on that while we're over here doing something else. So I don't know. I have to believe that they are taking the threats very seriously. We are in a time of war. It's very dangerous anytime the president is in the Middle East. So I'm actually very happy that they are smart about saying we went back to the old one. But it does raise the question, how good is the new one if you had to use the old one to get out safely?
Just stick with what you know.
Stick with what you got.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. Back to Amir's point of who are we really dealing with here? Is it the IRGC, or you have Hamadeh, the son? Is he alive, and is he the one now in charge? Taylor, what do you make of all of this?
It doesn't matter who's in that seat. They all share the same ideology. I think we're getting lost in this point of like, who's the bad guy and who's running the shots. It doesn't matter. They're all bad. And I think that if we can't get behind that understanding and that notion that this is good versus evil, this is Western progress versus living in the Stone Ages where it's okay to literally stone women who don't cover their hair or, hang people who are homosexual in their country. Like, if we can't get to a point where we understand that there's a differentiation between these two cultures and we have to defeat that ideology where it is so that it stops affecting our shores, then it's a lost cause. So I don't really care who's in the seat. They need to be destroyed. The president needs to finish the job. The administration needs to finish the job, and we need to stop dancing with them because we don't have to. We have the firepower to wipe them out. We don't need to do this.
Yep, we definitely